Some things vanish so completely, it's hard to believe they were ever there at all. And unfortunately, that's the story of the Isaac Foust House in Randolph County, North Carolina. Demolished, destroyed, erased from the face of the earth after nearly 200 years, it was consumed by flames set intentionally by the local fire department for a training exercise. After many similar outcomes with historic buildings across rural North Carolina, I found that when a historic place like this is in danger, sometimes the only thing we can save is the history, and thankfully I was able to get permission to document the house before it was gone for good. Built when the Deep River Valley was still a frontier, the Isaac Foust House was the first permanent home in what would eventually become the town of Ramseur. I can remember the first time I saw it. To me, it wasn't just old wood and brick. This home felt like a relic standing quietly in a world that was racing ahead around it. It was a world that this house could no longer keep up with. Shortly after my visit, I heard the rumors that the owner planned to tear it down. Like so many old homes that I've documented around the South, this one had sat empty for many years, slowly falling into disrepair. The current owner didn't have the funds to restore it. Their contractor said it was too far gone. And while I didn't want to believe it, I've seen this story play out before. A home that once meant everything to a family and to its community becomes inconvenient, outdated, and unsafe, and the only apparent solution is removal. So I'm sharing its story here in this video to mark its place in history and to say that this house was real and its stories matter. Before European settlers arrived, this land was home to the Catawba people. But by the late 1700s and early 1800s, white settlers like William Allen began claiming tracts along the Deep River. By 1840, Allen was dividing and selling portions of his land, and one of the buyers was a young man named Isaac Foust. Foust was more than just a landowner. Over the course of his life, he served as a storekeeper, attorney, postmaster, county justice, and later, a delegate to the North Carolina Constitutional Convention. In 1841, he married Mary Jane Holt, and together they built a modest log cabin, believed to be the very first permanent home in the village of Columbia, which would later become Ramseur. This was long before paved roads, long before the textile mills that would come to define this region, before the village even had a name on the map. Back when the Deep River was the lifeblood of settlement in Randolph County, the Fausts built this home, which also served as the first post office in the area, with Isaac as its postmaster. In 1850, the original log cabin was enclosed with a larger Greek Revival-style structure. Then, around 1900, a central gable was added to the front, giving the home the shape it would carry for the next century. Layer by layer, the house evolved, not just in style but in purpose, shaped by the needs of a growing family and the changing times around it. Like many homes from this era, its legacy is both fascinating and difficult. Alongside stories of Isaac Foust's accomplishments, these walls also bear witness to the lives of the people he enslaved. Their stories survive only in fragments, scattered across old census records and scant historical documents. In the 1850 census, Isaac Foust reported that he enslaved 8 people, and in the 1860 census, he reported that that number had risen to 14. Unfortunately, my research thus far hasn't uncovered any names or personal details, only their numbers, so their lives, their voices, and their stories remain largely hidden. Their mention here is brief, and that's not by choice, but by limitation of the available documentation, so if anyone has any additional knowledge or family history connected to this place, I would welcome the opportunity to learn more so I can expand this part of the story. In the mid-1800s, the village of Columbia thrived, thanks in part to its location on the Deep River and the growth of the Columbia Manufacturing Cotton Mill, which Isaac Foust had helped to establish. But the Civil War brought sweeping changes, and during Reconstruction, the town of Columbia was renamed Ramseur in honor of a Confederate general. Isaac Foust died in 1864, and Mary followed him in 1893. Yet the house remained in the family for decades, passed down through generations of Fausts who lived, worked, and grew up within these walls. Eventually, the last Faust descendant to own the home could no longer maintain it, and the property was gifted to a local group with hopes of turning it into a community center. But unfortunately, those dreams never materialized. When I spoke with them about their plans for the house, they explained that they appreciated the history of the place, but that the cost of restoration was simply too high. And so the house was donated again, this time to the local fire department, who used it for a training exercise, intentionally setting the old home ablaze to give firefighters real-world experience. It's a fate that's becoming increasingly common for old buildings in rural North Carolina. After receiving permission to document the house, I returned again and again during its final weeks, trying to preserve what I could. The creak of the floorboards, the rusted hinges, the way the sunlight poured through broken windows. And because I wasn't sure when they'd burn it, each visit felt like I was saying goodbye. In May of 2023, the Isaac Foust House was gone. What time hadn't worn down, the fire took. Nearly 2 centuries of history lost in a single day. But here's the thing, even if the house is gone, its story doesn't have to be. Instead, we can choose to remember it not just for its age, but for the complex history it represents. A beginning, a foundation, a reminder that every town started with just a few families and many hands trying to build something that would last. What remains now lives only in memory and photographs. But through these stories we continue to tell, we can remember not only the Foust family, but also the enslaved individuals who lived and worked here. Their history may be gone, but their legacy won't be lost. The good and the bad are both intertwined into the fabric of this place, and by sharing these stories, I hope to honor all who shaped the history and called this land home. If you believe stories like this are worth remembering, please subscribe and follow along to my channel as I uncover more forgotten corners of Southern history.